Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of Let's Play Drums. Today we're going to talk about counting, and I cannot stress to you how important counting is. As a matter of fact, from now on, counting will be the basis of everything that we're going to do from here on out. Just a quick side note, you'll realize that this week's episode looks a whole lot like last week's episode, and that's because it was all a part of the same episode. But while I was editing, I realized that the video got way too long, so I decided to split it into two different episodes. So without any further ado, let's get started. The last thing I want to talk to you about is counting. Counting is really important because if you can count it and you can say it with your mouth, you can play it. So here's how we do it. Music is broken up into chunks of time called bars or measures. And then we take these measures and we cut them into even smaller pieces of time called subdivisions. So think of it like money. If you have $1, you can break that dollar down into smaller sections. Like for instance, you take 4 quarters and you'll make $1. Or you can take that same dollar and break it down into 10 dimes or 20 nickels or 100 pennies. So each one of these subdivisions breaks down the measure into smaller chunks. The first chunk we're going to talk about today, or subdivision, is called a quarter note. A quarter note breaks down the bar into 4 different pieces. So just like there's 4 quarters in $1 or 4 quarters in a football or basketball game, there are 4 quarter notes in one bar or one measure. And this is simple. We count just the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Really simple. Once you get back to 4, or once you get to 4, you start back over at 1. So I want you to practice that with me. Say it along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy enough, right? So let's get out our sticks again. Remember, pinch the sticks, wrap around lightly, the tops of your hands to the ceiling. And I want you to play each one of these quarter notes with me. And we're going to do 1 hit per each hand. So if you're right-handed, we're going to start with our right hand. If you're left-handed, you can start with your left hand. And we're going to use our even strokes, and we're going to play each one of these quarter notes, all right? Play them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next subdivision that we're going to talk about are called eighth notes. Now remember, quarter notes broke these measures or bars into 4 different pieces. So an eighth note will, you guessed it, break down each one of these measures into 8 different pieces. And we're going to add another beat to the mix. So instead of just saying 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to put something called an and right in the middle of each one of these numbers. So quarter notes, remember, are 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes, we add an and in the middle of each one of the numbers. So it sounds like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 8 notes. All right, try it again with me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the quarter notes. We're going to play it starting with our right hand, and we're going to play 1 hit per each one of these notes. So every time you say a word out of your mouth, you're going to hit with each one of your hands, all right? So let's do it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The last subdivision we're going to talk about today are called 16th notes. Now, if you remember eighth notes, we put an and in between each one of the numbers. This time, we're going to put 2 more beats in between the numbers, and the ands. These beats are going to be called the E and the. So the E is going to come right before the and the is going to come right after the and. So we'll count it like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Just like eighth notes break a measure into 8 beats and quarter notes break a measure into 4 beats, 16th notes break a measure into 16 different beats. So let's try counting it again. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and The same exercise applies. We're going to do 1 hit per each hand. Every time you say a word or a syllable with your mouth, we're going to hit the drum, just like target practice. Each time we speak, we're going to hit. All right, let's try it. Start off with my right hand. Here we go. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and I hope you're playing along with me. Come on. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So once you have these subdivisions down pat, you want to put them together. You want to start off playing quarter notes, then we're going to jump to eighth notes, then we're going to jump to 16th notes, and back to quarter notes again. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is that quarter notes are going to be slower. And then when you jump to eighth notes, they're going to be a little faster, and 16th notes are going to be a little faster than eighth notes. Actually, they double each time. The eighth note is twice as fast as the quarter note, and the 16th note is twice as fast as the eighth note. So I'm going to play them for you, and remember, we're going to do 1 hit per each hand, and I'm going to play them from start to finish, from quarter notes to eighth notes to 16th notes. Here they go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and A few things I want you to remember while you're practicing these. Number 1, like I said earlier, we're always going to use our right hand and our left hand one after the other. So when you say one syllable or one word, you hit with your right hand. When you play another syllable or word, you hit with your left hand. Another thing I want you to think about or practice is doing these things slowly. We're not in any rush. As a matter of fact, the slower you practice, the easier it is to play, and the more you learn what you're actually doing, and your hands learn what they're supposed to be doing, and the motions sink in. So practice everything we do as slow as you can, and then we'll work on speeding things up gradually. And once you do this, you'll have a really good, solid foundation. That's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.